Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining us. I'm Dipali Mehta. I'm the Data and AI Partner Go-to-Market Specialist.
I am Sudhir Gupta, Principal Partner Solutions Architect, Data and AI Specialist at AWS.
So today's session is POC to production guidance for generative AI. In the next 20 minutes, we will cover 6 reasons why POCs get stuck. We'll also talk about AWS's 8-step methodology that's based on our best practices. We'll talk about 2 customer examples, including the 8 steps, and we will leave you with a take-home starter kit. How does that sound? All right. I think we can do better than that. Are you guys excited? Woo, thank you. So this should come as no surprise, but less than 30% of the POCs are scaling to production. The number one reason is lack of ROI modeling. So customers run experiments, but they don't really know what they gain or save from it. The second reason is lack of advanced optimization. So customers plan for outcomes, model delivers it, but it's just too expensive. The third reason is lack of data strategy. So POCs are often run on isolated, very ideal data sets that cannot be scaled to production. The fourth reason is lack of in-house skills. So for example, POC delivered 84% accuracy. The goal was 90% accuracy. Now they don't have the in-house skills to improve the model performance. The fifth reason is lack of strategic priority. So often POCs are fueled by curiosity, but they're not really a strategic big rock. And lastly, there are tactical roadblocks like procurement challenges or compliance challenges. So let's do a quick show of hands. How many of you have seen POCs getting stuck for reason number 1? Okay, so some of you. How about reason number 2? Okay, just 2 of you. How about reason number 3? Okay, so many of you. Reason number 4? In-house skills. Yes, okay, some of you. How about reason number 5? It's not really a strategic priority. Okay, very few of you. How about last reason? Procurement, compliance challenges, tactical roadblocks. Oh wow, many of you. Are there any reasons that you don't see on the slide and would like to share? Okay, hopefully we covered all the reasons on the slide. So now that we have looked at the main reasons why POCs get stuck, let's talk about the AWS's 8-step approach that's based on our best practices. So these are the 8 steps that we will cover throughout this presentation in detail. So the 8 steps include business modeling, data strategy, model selection, architecture, security and compliance, optimization, FMOps, and monitoring. So we'll take a customer example, and we'll walk through that example, including these 8 steps. So before I dive into the customer example, I do want to highlight the fact that our methodology and the 8-step approach that I just showed you is based on hundreds of POC to production generative AI customer success stories at AWS, and this is across multiple industries, as you can see on the slide. So let's dive into the first customer story, Venminder. An AWS partner, Kayland, implemented this solution. By any chance, is there anyone here from either the Venminder or the Kayland team? Oh, great. Thank you for joining us. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out after the session. So Venminder is an end contracts company. They streamlined document processing and compliance assessments using automated workflows. They unlocked 70% of their analysts' time. They reduced contract review turnaround time from 65 days to just under 3 days. Let me repeat, 65 days to just under 3 days. That is really impressive. So they are using Amazon Bedrock and they are using Anthropic Claude. So Venminder had 2 main challenges. One, their analysts were manually processing vast amounts of unstructured documents. Second, they initially implemented with OpenAI that resulted in only 60% accuracy. So now we've looked at some of the challenges of Venminder. Let's dive into their POC to production journey using the 8 steps that I mentioned. So step 1, business modeling or ROI modeling. So Venminder really looked at working backwards from their outcomes. They didn't calculate ROI, but they had measurement improvements with 94% decrease in contract processing time. And they increased data accuracy from 60% with OpenAI to nearly 100% with Anthropic Claude. Let me repeat that. They improved data accuracy with 60% with OpenAI to nearly 100% with Anthropic Claude. That is, again, truly, truly impressive. So they were really looking at very tight alignment between their business and technical teams. So they integrated multiple AI models to improve that data accuracy. Step 2, data strategy. So Venminder's data strategy prioritized data accessibility, integration, and security and compliance. So some of the best practices for them included looking at providing rich context. So AI models performed better when they were given a large set of related documents. So they integrated diverse data sources like SOC statements, security policies, business continuity plans, and they leveraged Amazon Kendra, which they found really game-changing in handling massive variety of data formats. So again, that's something they looked into for their data strategy. So they had this iterative data strategy where they looked at industry requirements. They also looked at balancing automation with human oversight to manage risk. Step number 3, model selection. So their model selection focused on accuracy, context understanding, and speed. So they looked at 3 or 4 models during their POC phase using Amazon Bedrock. And they were mainly looking at these 3 or 4 models, and they selected Amazon Claude Sonnet 3.5, which again provided that data accuracy from 60% to 100%, and they were able to improve the model performance by providing this rich data context. And that data accuracy was focused on extracting the essential contractual data that they were looking at. So with that, let me turn it over to Sudhir to walk you through the additional steps, including architecture.
Thank you, Deepali, for covering the first 3 steps. Now I will walk you through the 4th step, the architecture implementations for the Venminder. For the Venminder, their architecture is around the seamless integrations of the AI capabilities into their existing system that follows the AWS well-architected principle. So they leverage the serverless and the managed services like the Amazon Bedrock, AWS Lambda, Amazon Kendra to build their generative AI deployment. And because of this, they are able to get the scalability and the reliability at the scale. They built a data pipeline to securely move the data from one storage to another storage, including the data which they are using it for the human oversight checks. And then they implemented the intelligent document processing. And the key features for that implementation was they implemented a task-based routing, which means that they configured a process and the automations so that they are able to use the appropriate model types for specific document types. So they use the different document types to process by the different AI models. Another key things in this the implementation is they build the mechanisms to collect and combine the data coming from various AI models. So they didn't go with just one AI model approach. They implemented the multiple AI models, and they are able to combine the output, and then only they send it back to their customer at the end. And with this approach, they are able to actually take the benefit which is coming from the various model has a different strength, and they are able to get that. For the security and compliance, with the Calend's guidance, Venminder implemented a robust access control and the data protections. So for example, the encryption at rest, encryption in transit, and even they implemented right mechanisms to handle the sensitive data, because they cannot just expose all the confidential data in and the output from the AI. And another key features in their security and compliance implementation was the implementation of the human feed oversight for the critical processes like the model verifications, for the risk management, and so on. And they built a robust business continuity plan, and they conducted the regular audits so that they can improve the AI processes and the model. For the optimizations, for the model optimizations, they used Amazon Bedrock. As the Deepali explained, they compared the various models for the different use cases and then went with the specific model for the right use cases. And when it comes to the prompt optimizations, they built a prompt catalog system which catalogs all the tunable prompts with the versions. And result of this, their end users are able to reuse those tunable prompt, and then they are able to customize for the specific use cases. For the MLOps, they build the data pipeline using the AWS services as I described, and they followed the CI/CD method to deploy the new AI models or even the new prompts into their system. For the monitorings, they implemented a very robust monitoring framework, which includes the technical aspects as well as the technical aspects both. For the business sides, they implemented the way so that they can capture the customer satisfactions, productivity gains, cost saving. And from the technical side, they implemented the monitorings to monitor the health of AWS services, the success rate, error rates, and even the model accuracy rates. And they incorporated the various responsible AI practices as well. For example, for the transparency, they print in the output if the output is generated by the AI. They also implemented the bias in the AI outputs or not. Now let me walk you through another case studies implemented by our partner Quantify for a customer, life science customer, Acto. Is there anyone from Quantify or Acto? I think maybe not. No worries, I will talk about that. So Acto has a mission. They wanted to improve the productivity of their 45,000 sales representatives who are on the field, and they want to reduce the response time given to the customer. And at the same time, they want to reduce the onboarding time for the new hires. With these goals, Quantify built a generative AI solutions for them. And for that, they use a Bionic. Bionic is their generative AI platform-based an accelerator, which actually helps to simplify and accelerate the generative AI deployment for customer on AWS. And they, like the Venminders, they also followed the same 8-step model process for this deployment of these solutions. So for the data strategy, they created a robust data strategy for data ingestion, store, and even the processing, which starts from the data processing, it goes even to the AI ML processing as well. They also leverage the serverless services, and their architecture is primarily driven, they use the queue-based event-driven architecture for the scale. And if you look at the architecture, their users, they submit the request to the Cloudflare prompt, and from the Cloudflare, it goes to the Elastic Load Balancing, and from the Elastic Load Balancer, the request will be distributed to the EKS pods, and these EKS pods were deployed in the private subnets for the security, and they can run the multiple pods in parallel. And result of this, and then they perform the pre-processing. So for the pre-processing, they use the AWS Lambda as well as the SQS to perform that. And once it is the pre-process, they store the output in S3, and they use the text track to extract the text data from the documents, and then make that metadata available into the Elasticsearch for the fast return result. For the authentication, they went with the Amazon Cognito, and for the application hosting, they use the cloud EKS for the application hosting, and for the content delivery, they use the Amazon CloudFront. And with this architecture, they are able to scale, and they are able to actually improve the productivity significantly. They were able to reduce the response time by 30%. The new hire onboarding, they reduced by 20%. And in fact, when I say the productivity improvement, now they are, customers their representatives are able to answer the questions in less than average of 10 seconds. For the model selections, they also followed the similar methodologies, like they leverage the Amazon Bedrock evaluations parameter features available into Bedrock, where they compare the multiple AI model, managed even the open source model, and then based on the latencies, performance, the cost, they find out that Anthropic Claude 3.5 Sonnet performed well for their use cases, and so they went with that. And instead of the fine tuning, they went with the few shot, the prompt techniques, so that they are able to generate the more and accurate response even for their the use cases they are getting it from their customers. When it comes to the security, they have the Bionic as a tool, and they use this Bionic to define the access control, and even for the data protections like the encryption at rest or SSL configurations, role-based access control, and so on. And then for the monitoring, they use the CloudWatch logs for the monitoring here. And for the optimization perspectives, as I said, they leverage Amazon Bedrock. And the second thing, they went with the serverless approach. And they also preferred using the GPU instances to lower down the cost. And for the different environment, they preferred the different EC2 type, so that they can be more they can build a system which can give you the lower cost solution. So with this, now I'm reached to the last section, which is the take-home kit. So this 8-step process we have defined into a guide, and this guide is available into the AWS Partners Central portal as well as into the community page. Here is the link and the barcode. Feel free to scan and download, and you can learn more about these 8-step processes. I hope you are able to capture. I can wait for another 10 seconds. I think, okay, I hope people are done, so moving next. And we have also created a sample course base and the Bedrock workshops. If you are interested, scan the barcode and do the hands-on experience and see how you can implement those generative AI solutions with some automations and predefined code for you. And you can customize them as well. And then we have also built a multiple trainings, okay, so that if you are a new or whether you are expert, we have built a proper learning plans hosted in AWS Skill Builder. Use them to gain the expertise, and then use the AWS Partner certification process to validate them. There is a barcode you can scan if you just want the quick access to the Skill Builder and the certifications in case if you need. And this is the last slide. We have reached to the end. Thank you so much for listening us. If you have any questions, we will be in the AWS Partner Network booth side. Grab us, and we are more than happy to answer any of your questions. Thank you.